Hi, I'm Debbie Morley, Senior Strata Manager at B Strata. Welcome to Be Wise with B Strata, and today I'm going to be talking about occupiers' responsibilities and breaches. Now, in the Strata Titles Act, as amended from the 1st of May 2020, Part 7 is all about lot owners and occupiers. That's section 82 to 90. Now, it's a big change because occupiers, whether an owner-occupier or a tenant, they have the rights but also responsibilities. Now, we all wish to live harmoniously, and living in a strata community, it's important to consider the health and well-being of all residents. Section 83 in the main body of the Act is about the use and enjoyment, and that one person, one lot, does not interfere unreasonably with other lots or other people on common property. Also, within Conduct Bylaw number 2, the use of common property is also about lot owners or lot occupiers not causing a nuisance or interfering with the peaceful enjoyment of others. All that is important for all of us. Schedule 2 bylaws, which were covered by another Be Wise video, are now called conduct bylaws, and by their very nature they are about the conduct of the people living within the strata scheme. The occupiers, whether tenants or owner-occupiers, need to follow these conduct bylaws, and the owners and the property managers need to ensure that if they have tenants, that those tenants know what those bylaws are. Another interesting change within the amended Act is Section 43. Section 43 is about exclusive use bylaws. Now, the exclusive use of common property for a specific lot now clearly states that use is for the occupier, the tenant or owner-occupier. And although the owner remains liable to pay for the default for any repairs or maintenance, it is the occupier that has the use of that exclusive use of the common property. Now, under Section 1, Bylaw 1, owners must maintain and repair their lot and keep it to a good standard. This is an area of big confusion, especially when owners, or owners mainly, want to alter their lot, complete alterations to the lot. If you're wanting to complete alterations, my first advice is please contact your strata manager, because depending on what you wish to do, there could be a need for a general meeting. So don't make assumptions, don't just go ahead and do the work, because you could be in breach of a variety of bylaws and sections within the Act. Because if you are going to complete a structural alteration on your lot, under Section 87 and Section 89 and Regulation 75, you need to have an application to all owners. And usually, I say usually, this is completed through a general meeting as a resolution without dissent. And you will need to have lots of detailed information for that notice of a general meeting to enable that structural alteration to be voted upon as a resolution without dissent. And that means no one who is eligible to vote, no one dissents. Doesn't mean a 100% unanimous, it means the people that are there, if there's a quorum, do not dissent. And they can only dissent on specific grounds. And that is clearly laid out in Section 87.5 and Regulation 74. I don't like it is not one of those grounds. So it is important you work with your strata manager to make sure that you have all the information on the notice of a general meeting if you want to do a structural alteration to your lot. There are also conduct bylaws that impact what you can do to your lot. Basic alterations to your lot is actually Conduct Bylaw 13, and that involves a 14-day written notice and a description to the strata scheme, the Council of Owners. Bylaw 14 is about the appearance of the lot. You cannot just change the appearance of your lot. You can't paint the outside a different colour. You can't put a new front door on. Again, that is a written approval by the Council of Owners. You can't just go and alter your lot because you would like to. Same as the new bylaw that has come in under the conduct bylaws, bylaw 15, which is about the decoration of and affixing items to inner surfaces of lots. That is new, and again, there needs to be formal written approval for the work that you would like to do. So again, I do reiterate, don't just alter your lot because you believe you have the right. You could be in breach, and the strata scheme could ultimately ask you to put your lot back how it was originally, which would be a lot of grief, a lot of cost. So it's better to ask first, get all the information, and then drive that forward through the right channels and the right processes. Owners, occupiers, tenants, if they do not follow the bylaws, if they do not follow, there might even be house rules. We prefer to call them community living guidance. House rules seems so old school. But if they're not followed, then there are consequences. You have rights, and with rights there are responsibilities, and with responsibilities there are consequences if you do not follow. And within the Strata Titles Act, there is the enforcement of bylaws. The enforcement of bylaws is part of Section 47 of the Act, also Regulations 57 and Regulations 58. The best way forward if someone has breached a bylaw, I find, is to talk with them. That correspondence, collaboration, communication usually will solve the issue because, on the whole, people don't realise they are in breach of a bylaw. If that doesn't work, then the next step I prefer to take is that I send an informal email or letter to the owner or the property manager who represents the tenant, the occupier, highlighting the fact that a bylaw is not being followed or respected and the person is in breach. Usually there's no charge for that to the actual lot that's involved. However, if that doesn't work, then we get into the more formal route of enforcing the scheme bylaws. And that more formal route will include Section 47. Now, Section 47 is very clear, and it's very important that the strata scheme or the Council of Owners have a line-up of all their ducks, because the evidence that is required is quite specific within the Strata Titles Act. A formal breach letter will need to be sent. Now, that breach letter must state what bylaw has been breached, how it's been breached, and what needs to be done to resolve the situation. Now, if it's not resolved after that first formal letter, then another letter is sent, and probably another letter. There is a requirement for 3 breach letters before a formal written notice is sent. Now, a formal written notice, we have been advised, is probably best written up by a lawyer because it is so intricate and so much detail is required. That obviously involves costs. Costs initially to the strata scheme, because you also have to include, if you're interested in reading, Schedule 2, Clause 1 to 3, which is the explanation of the effect of Section 47. Basically, it's got to be very detailed with the bylaw, the facts, the actions that have not been taken, the explanation, and also all the times that letters have been sent and what has or what has not happened. Then the strata scheme, the Council of Owners, are likely to be taking the person that's caused the breach, which could be a tenant or it could be an owner, to SAT, the State Administrative Tribunal. Now at SAT, under Section 47(6) and Regulation 58, SAT could impose a penalty of up to $2,000 on the person that has breached the bylaws. That's a huge change because previously the maximum penalty was $500. It's now $2,000. So we're talking a lot of money. And it's important to realise also it does not have to be the Council of Owners or the strata scheme that takes someone to SAT, the State Administrative Tribunal. Individual owners and individual occupiers can apply to SAT, and that is important to be aware of as well. Ultimately, your Council of Owners, they represent your strata scheme. They're voted in at the general meeting to represent the strata scheme, to drive forward the works of the strata scheme in the financial year and to perform its functions, including under Section 112, the compliance with the scheme bylaws, and under Section 119, the objectives. Of course, the strata scheme, the Council of Owners, must not be unfairly prejudicial. They must not discriminate against a person or be oppressive or unreasonable. However, community living involves everyone. Within your strata scheme, and this year especially with many of us working from home, consideration of our neighbour, it's important for all of us. Thank you. If you have any questions or any queries, please do not hesitate to contact us. And if you have any ideas for future videos, also contact us. We would like to hear from you. Please use bwise@bstratawa.com.au. Have a good day.